Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Coach's Corner on the Bridging Impact Podcast Network. I am Coach Furtado, and we are passing the ball to the next generation of athletes, coaches, and parents. And so we really focused on our podcast for youth sports parents and coaches, but we also create a lot of content on social media for athletes as well. And we just want to create the best possible youth sports experience. And that way we can learn, become better athletes, but we also become better leaders for on the court and off the court. And so we can really impact our communities. So diving in today, we are going to talk about 4 steps on how to teach character. And really it can be kind of a framework that can be thought about for teaching any skill or behavior to our athletes and to the next generation of kids. And so, before I dive into that, there's a quote by John Wooden that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And I actually find that as John Wooden is one of the most incredible coaches of all time, but I really disagree with that. Because sports is just it's like the ultimate life test. There's so many different things that are going on. You're learning so many different life lessons, teamwork, accountability, hard work, right? Like the list goes on. There's so much more. And so yes, I think sports reveals character with where you're at. But if you start sports at, let's say, the youth sports level, younger, 6, 7, and you are still revealing the same character that you had at 6 or 7, at 18, then your coaches and the sport that you played or the sports that you played did you a disservice. Because I truly believe that if you actually genuinely play sports and have really good coaches who really care about teaching development of character in the game beyond the game, teaching about life, then that's how you end up really becoming a better leader on and off the court. And so with that being said, it's our job as coaches to be intentional about how we build that character. And I'm going to give you a framework right now that anyone can implement. And it's very simple. And I actually learned it from Stephen Mackey, who was on the podcast on Wednesday. And that's why you have to subscribe to the podcast wherever you are: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube. It's a way that, I learned so much from the guests that come on, and the guests are always sharing a lot of wisdom. So those come out every Wednesday. Coach's Corner comes out every Friday. And so the framework looks like this. It's model, test, teach, and reward. So let's go into model first, and I'm going to use body language as our character that we're teaching. That way we can all be on the same page, and I'm not flipping and flopping on different character, but you can think about this in a way that you want to implement for your age group, for your athletes, and what kind of behavior or skill it is. So the first one is modeling the behavior of body language. And this is a big one that I'm trying to improve on as well. But actually more than 50% of our communication to our teammates, to the world is body language, right? So when I can kind of hunch over, and you can hear me, I'm a little quieter right now because, my roommate, my girlfriend is sleeping. So I'm trying to have, control the tone of my voice, which isn't necessarily body language, but it kind of goes hand in hand. Just if you're like, why is this dude whispering today? That's why. And, trying to be mindful. We got a small space. And with that, body language is huge, especially in sports. So a big thing that I have been challenged by as an athlete and now as a coach, and one thing that, I have to be better about is modeling. I can do body language all day and clap and when things are going well, right? Like I'm in it and I'm very excited. But, in those times where a ref makes a bad call, unfortunately, a lot of times I'll throw my hands up, I'll ask the ref in a way that's not modeling great body language. So if we want to model a certain character like body language, we have to show what it's like when we're going through challenging situations, which is the next one, which is test. We have to test. The test comes first in life. I know a lot of times in school, we get this test after we learn all the material, but if you think about it, life throws us tests, it throws us curveballs, and then we learn. That's the real way we learn. And so you have to, put your athletes and your kids into situations throughout, the week, throughout practice, before games, hopefully, where you make some intentionally bad calls. And then, it's an opportunity to test it out, give them an opportunity to learn through their own mistakes, which kind of goes into my third one, which is teach. We have to teach. And this is a big one because we have to, and I think it comes from ourselves too. It kind of stems to the three before. So think about this scenario that I just talked about. We are in a practice and we're playing a scrimmage, right? And I'm just going to purposely be terrible ref and call bad calls, and I'm going to try and get them to throw their hands up and roll their eyes and really, really just test them. And after every time they throw their hands up and roll their eyes, boom, stop practice and ask them, hey, is that good body language? The answer is no. The answer is no. We have to teach, okay, what should that body language look like? It's like, you can sigh, like you're a human, right? You don't just have to be a robot and be like Kawhi Leonard and nod your head and go back down the court. No, you can, you just don't throw your hands up. You can be frustrated, take a deep breath, right? Take a deep breath and then get back and on the next play, because you can't let a ref take you out or an umpire take you out for the next play. If you're still thinking about that past play, you're hurting your team, you're hurting yourself. And so being able to teach that body language, good body language, leads to a lot of different things. That is how they're going to learn. They're going to learn from mistakes. And this is a big one. Teach through your mistakes too, right? You let's say we have a big game, we get a bad foul call with the last 2 minutes. With that bad foul call, there's a couple things we can do. We can throw our hand. Let's say we throw our hands up in the air. All right. And then boom, we get a technical foul and they make their free throws and the game's over. When you come back to practice the next day, you better own up and apologize, because you did not model good character. You did not model good body language, right? And that body language cost you the game. And you were the teaching lesson. You were the subject there. So coaches can definitely be the subject as well. And so that leads to the last one of reward. And, when you start seeing, because as I was writing about, teaching a certain subject, a character, a skill, it's like growing a garden, right? You first plant the seed by modeling it. And then you have to test. Every time you test, you're watering it, and you're watering it by teaching. Test and teach, watering it. And then the final product is the reward. And when you start seeing some of those players who maybe had bad body language before, they're throwing their hands up constantly, but now they're just, acknowledging it, deep breath. They know it's a bad call, right? It's not like, it's a good call, right? No, that's not what we're doing. Acknowledge it's a bad call. They get back on defense. They get back to their assignment, and then they play great defense. And and then that's when you reward. And your reward doesn't always have to be pizza, ice cream, Snickers, whatever. It can be great job, insert name, Johnny. Great job, Johnny. I see you with that good body language. Call him out at the end of the game. You know what? Even if you lost, hey, I know we lost by 2, but Johnny had great body language, right? It's that. And Stephen Mackey talked about this, the guy that, you got to go listen to that pod, right? He talked about how what gets rewarded gets repeated, right? We're humans. We want to be and feel a part of a group. And what are ways we feel a part of a group? When we're acknowledged, when we feel like we belong. And the more we reward behavior that is part of our culture, right? Part of the character we're building, the more that behavior is going to get repeated. So reward is huge. And obviously, some of these are not going to be like, it's not a 4-step plan. The reward may come right after a model. The test may come last. The test may come first, then you model, right? So it's just a framework that you can play with, and it's obviously going to probably depend, number one, on the age and the skill of your athlete. So that is, if we can really take that framework and we can be really intentional about how we are creating character development, I truly believe that we can really build great leaders off the court, right? That's the number one. I mean, everyone stops playing sports. Michael Jordan stops playing sports. LeBron James, Tom Brady, they only got a few years left. Like, they're going to end up being in obviously they had more time to develop their character and craft, right? Especially, for us, we're youth sports coaches and parents, right? So it's really an opportunity to just, teach and continue to plant seeds, and just know it's not going to take it. It may take a full season. Hey, if you coach them for 2 or 3 seasons, it may take them 2 or 3 seasons to learn things, but don't give up, right? The minute you give up is the minute you lose. And we want to win our kids so that we can help them win in life more than they win in the game of sports. So hey, make sure that you go give us a review on Apple Podcasts, follow wherever you get podcasts, and subscribe to us on YouTube. We're trying to grow. We're trying to share this message of bridging impact to the next generation. We're trying to build better leaders into our athletes, because athletes have such an enormous impact on our society. And if we can teach leadership into our society, or leadership into our athletes, our society is going to be a better place. So I appreciate y'all for listening. I will be in your ears and eyes next week, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Coach Furtado out.